Why do I feel like I have done something wrong? Why do I feel? I haven't done anything wrong. It's just slow. Alright, hello guys, welcome back. I'm doing another stream. Oh no, and I'm playing... Okay, ignore that. Alright, so I've decided to do another stream, and well, as promised. So what we're going to start doing in this stream is we are going to paint some of the cables, because I know that a lot of you guys who have been following the project for a while have just been staring at this. You know, there's been little to no progress on this, so we're going to start picking out some of the cables and adding some colour to it. I say colour, we're going to be painting black cables, but we're going to pick some out and see how much we can get done. So yeah, prepare to be amazed. Randy Felix, love this project, can't wait to see it all come together in the end. Thank you very much. We're getting there, I don't know if you caught any of the stream yesterday, but the plan was to get it mostly finished by the end of this year. So it's still a goal. I honestly, don't think it will be finished by the end of the year, but I want to have, the large majority of it painted. So then at least I won't feel as bad about it. If I have to work on it for another couple of months, that won't be the end of the world. But what I don't want to be left with is working on it for another year. That is definitely not the goal. So what I'm going to do is just pick out some of these cables basically. I'm not going to paint them all black because I want a few to be different colours. So probably leave some gold and paint some red, maybe green. It'd be a limited colour palette, just so it doesn't look too crazy. But yeah, blacks, greens, reds. I think that's what we're going to end up with. Rover Mars Rover, live streams for the live stream god, cables for the cable god. Well, you're right, Rover. We got plenty of those as well. Again, it's it's definitely not going to be done in one stream, but we'll see if we can make a little bit of a dent on it. Guess we'll start in the far corner. And with these, I'm thinking I don't need to be too particular because way back when I decided that following the artwork that this is based on, I'm going to add some arches to obscure a lot of this cabling. I say a lot, but it's going to obscure some of the cabling, so I don't need to be too precise. I don't need to be too pedantic about it. At the end of the day, it would just be nice to see some of these cables painted, because I've been staring at this for, over a year now. This has been painted gold. So it would just be nice to see it slowly change. Apologies as well if I don't keep up with the comments. I will try my best. I know this isn't exactly a busy stream, but it's quite hard for me to multitask. Let's see, Randy Felix, mostly just black or some other colours? Yeah, so we'll have some reds and greens in there and maybe some yellows, but again, I want to be selective with the colours so it doesn't visually bombard you. Leo AK, hello, Nihilus from Denmark, you are bonkers, totally love this. I wish this was my basement, insane man. Love you, Alex. Thank you very much, Alex. Insane is probably right. I think I drive myself a little bit too crazy with this project sometimes. Overall, I do enjoy it. I like spending my time on it and seeing it come together, but yeah, it's definitely like a once in a lifetime thing. Once this is done, my videos might get really boring and I might just start painting Space Marines and little individual models. So we'll see. But yeah, it's nice to have some company for a Friday evening while I get a bit more done. I did mention yesterday that it's kind of nice because it gives me an excuse to do more work on the project. And yeah, therefore it might be, you know, we might get enough done. Randy Felix, one small cable for man, one giant leap for the Emperor. That sounds about right. You know, the thing is, we're not even done with cabling yet. I still need, well, quite a few more when it comes to the top. There's going to be a lot of cables there, and eventually we'll have some sort of coming down from the top and plugging into the back of the Emperor. So yeah, plenty more cables to come. I'm going to specialise in cable painting content for the next few months. It's just a nice feeling to get some paint on here now. Even this first cable that I'm doing, seeing it turn black, it's quite satisfying. Some of them might end up needing more than one coat as well, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And again, if you wonder why I'm staring at the table in front of me, I have your messages up on my phone so I can see, because the laptop is a little bit far away. It's not because I've lost my mind through this project. So yeah, you'll over the course of this evening, you should see it slowly come together and see some colour being added. I apologise that I can't get right up close and personal with the camera. Kind of limited by the technology that I have. I'm also working with quite an old camera by technology standards, so yeah, it was quite an ordeal to set up the streamer for this one, to be fair. But we've got here now, and it'll do the trick. Alright, so what are you guys doing hobby-wise this evening? Are you sat painting? Or are you just chilling out on your Friday evening, watching me chip away at this? This is a bit of a first for me because I tend not to do anything on a Friday evening. Friday evening I usually just chill out, so actually doing some work on the project is a bit of a first for me on a Friday. But it is the start of the weekend, which is fantastic. Leo, maybe the Emperor liked a gin and tonic too. I think so. Salute your nice work. It's 9:40 at night in Denmark here, hee hee. Ah, so you're an hour ahead of us. It's still early days. You can have yourself another gin and tonic or two. Oh. Rover Mars Rover, I'm assembling a squad of Terminators and avoiding the things I really need to do. Isn't that most of us, Rover? I feel like a lot of us do that. The problem is I kind of do that within the hobby as well, so I will have stuff like, you know, this to do, and I'll get distracted. What did I get distracted with yesterday? Or not yesterday, the day before. I ended up painting a Necron that I had kicking around, I had no reason to do it. You know, it's not high up on the priority list. So instead of doing this, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to paint a Necron. I didn't even finish it. I just started it. So yeah, we're all kind of doing that, Rover. Is that the new Terminators? I haven't really had hands-on with any of them yet. I didn't even buy an Armageddon box. Not because I didn't like it, I just, you know, it's not going to get built for another few years, so I just passed. Well, I tell you what, Rover, at the end of the stream, because I've kind of hemmed myself in, he is sat on the desk, I promise you, before the end of the stream, I will go and get him. Because otherwise you're going to have to see me very ungracefully slide through this little gap and try and reach him. And it's too early for that much to go wrong. Alright, so we've nearly finished the first cable already. Again, it's just like quite a quick coat. So I probably will go back and give it another quick coat at some stage, but it'll give you guys an idea of you know, how things are coming along, basically. I tried not to go for the smallest brush I could find, just to make it a little bit quicker. The ones, well, the brushes that I tend to use are the Artis Opus ones. I find them really good. But yeah, because a lot of the time I have a habit of working with a very small brush, which is fantastic for details, but you know, when you want stuff done quick, definitely not the one. Something that I did for the longest time actually was I always chose a smaller brush, and you know, sometimes there's no benefit to it because the paint dries up quicker on the end of the brush. So now, or you know, for the past few years, I've been trying my best to use appropriate brushes and not just paint everything with the smallest possible brush. So once we've done the black cables, I've got to decide what kind of green I want to go for, and red with the other cables. Because what I'm thinking is not going for something too bright, and keeping everything a bit of a darker tone. I did discuss yesterday how it took me quite a while to decide how I wanted to paint the throne, because I could never really decide on whether I wanted it to be this clean, immaculate sort of diorama, or whether it to be a little bit run down and grimy. So we opted for somewhere in between. There won't be any oil washes for this one. I might use it for the miniatures, just to give them a bit more character, but I don't think I'm going to bother oil washing any of the actual build itself. It's mainly just nice to be able to stream again and have some capability. Right. I'd like to try and get a fair bit done this evening, you know. I'd like to maybe get up to there, I guess. Get a lot of these cables picked out. You know, yesterday I did actually make, well, for my standards, it was quite a bit of progress when we done some of the edge highlighting. So I actually managed to achieve more than I would when I sit down on my own and paint. So maybe there's a benefit to streaming it. Maybe I'm encouraged to work a little bit faster and get things done. I think I will be happy to see the back of this project. Not because I hate it, but when it's done, it'll be it'll be such a weight off my shoulders. Just got to make sure I kind of do it justice now after spending this much time working on it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. As much as I am a perfectionist, I am realizing that it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, I'm not going to get every aspect of this to the world's best standard. So I'm trying to bear that in mind. Void Laboratory, awesome project, love the ambient music. Thank you, Void Laboratory. If you want to hear similar music, you can check out Sebastian Kling's channel. I think I have linked him in the description, but Sebastian makes all the music that I use on my channel. You know, really theme-fitting stuff. So yeah, if you want to check his music out, take a little look in the description. If I didn't put it in there, I'll be sure to leave a link in my next stream. But yeah, he's a musical wizard, and to be fair, I wouldn't have you know, the kind of atmosphere to go with my videos if I didn't have him with me. Leo, thank you for the donation. I know it will go into your build, but treat yourself to a nice pint or Chardonnay. The Emperor's Finest also need to feel the ground sometimes. Well, I said Leo as well, it's just because it's your name, but Alex, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. In all honesty, it is, you know, we've got a few things that are needed for the project in order to move forward. So, yeah, like any donations and stuff and like Patreon support, it all goes back into the project. So it's much appreciated. And I did think you wrote pint of Chardonnay for a second. I was like, wow, a pint of Chardonnay. I don't know about that. Void Laboratory, we'll check it out. Cheers. Awesome. Yeah, you're doing yourself a service there. He's, as I said, he is a wizard. Alright, so we've nearly done a second cable. It's not as exciting as it sounds. Oh, we've nearly done a second cable. Wow. There's only 1,000 more to do. I made a bit of a mistake today as well, because yesterday's stream I had intended to take some pictures of the work that we'd actually sort of done on stream, and I never got around to it, so I apologise for that. I will try and remember to take a picture of you know, the progress we make today. I got a head like a bucket sometimes. Alright, yeah, that's another one. So yeah, it's very cool to have It is very cool to have a bit of company. I remember that before I stopped the streams, when I was kind of getting into the swing of them, it was just nice to hang out for a few hours and, you know, see what you guys are up to. Because I don't really have like a hobby group or anything where I'm based. Because I don't play the game, and I've got like one friend who's sort of into Warhammer, like, you know, he's into the lore and stuff. So when it comes to Warhammer, I don't really have many people to hang out with. I know I got no one to blame but myself, but yeah, so it's pretty cool to kind of just like hang out and chat about Warhammer and you know, watch me slowly go insane. And I do have to remember, something that I make a bit of a mistake with is when I get carried away, I tend not to wash off my brush, which is a bit rubbish because the paint ends up drying. And, you know, it's a good way to go through your brushes quickly. And that's not what you want. Need some paint as well. I'm just going over these with a bad and black, and I was thinking that if I don't want to highlight any of the cables, I might see what I can achieve with the pigment I was talking about the other day, the AK Interactive pigments, because they help add a little bit of you know, griminess, a little bit of texture, I guess. And since at the end of the day, you know, I'd say maybe 50% of this is going to be obscured, so you know, we don't need to go to town on the detail like we are with the floor. I don't know why, but in my head I felt like this is going to be, or this was going to be a worse task than it actually is. It's not too bad painting these. It's not too difficult. Because the cables that I'm painting are the ridged cables that I created using green stuff roller, and I did worry that before the stream it'd be quite difficult to get in amongst the ridges and make sure everything's got a good coat, but it's not too bad. It's forgiving, and that's what you want for a Friday night, is a task that's a little bit forgiving. I also mentioned yesterday that we're going to run a few more of these streams. I'm going to set them up. I don't know at the moment whether it's going to be certain days a week, but I am going to make them more, you know, more of a regular thing, because it takes a little bit of pressure off of me, since, you know, having the time to make videos and making sure you're sticking to a very strict schedule, it doesn't really work for me. So as much as I enjoy making the big progress videos and uploading them, it's not always viable time-wise. So being able to come on here and make a little bit of progress and share it with you guys is a nice way of mixing it up. because I'm not intending to quit the videos at all. I still would like to make more videos, but in the same vein, I don't want to have to, you know, make it a really strict schedule. I've got a few comments here. So you don't play the game at all. Ink 28 Invitational would fit perfect on your board. Well, I don't know. I guess if you weren't here yesterday, Void, we kind of talked about how once the project is finished, my intention is to work with a few other sort of like faces in the community, and maybe get like a sort of narrative game set up on here and let people, you know, film and kind of make an interesting video out of it, because, you know, it's something for you guys, I guess, for any of you that are keen on playing the game, because I wouldn't have a clue what to do. I don't know the first thing about the rules or anything like that, you know. Lore, miniatures, you know, painting and stuff, that's my bag. So what I would like to do to make it interesting for those people who like the gaming side of things is to work with some people that can offer that, basically. But we're not there yet. I will sort that out nearer the time, and I'll put up some information if I manage to organise something successfully. If I manage to organise that piss up in a brewery. Leo, I am also just a modeler, Warhammer 40k, 35th scale, and my favourite these days, 1/16th scale. Tackham Leopard, 2A, God, listen to me butcher this, 2A 7V, that has to be a Leopard. Oh, I see. Well, that is interesting. I haven't really dabbled with any of the other sort of games outside of, like, you know, Games Workshop, I guess. So kind of like the World War II stuff, and what else have they got? I mean, they got like I want to say War of the Roses and English Civil War stuff. You know, I haven't ever dabbled with that. I do think it's cool, and I've seen a lot of the tables and scenery that people make for it, but I haven't been pushed out of the comfort zone yet and explored it. And that goes for scales as well, because I know, like as you said, there's lots of different scales, and I haven't really dabbled with any of the smaller ones. It's interesting to know that that's where the name comes from as well, Alex. I don't know if any of you could see my eyes panicking for a second, because I'm like, I swear I brought down a drink. I swear I brought down something for me to drink, and I can't see it. And I don't want to hop over to try and look for it. That's a pain in the ass. A very unprofessional stream. If you couldn't tell already. So yesterday we had the first stream back in probably, I'd say it was over a year, I think, since the last stream, and it was quite a successful one yesterday. Actually, we were kind of consistently at double digits, which was nice. Because I always worry doing these that I'm just going to be talking to one person, and I know that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter how many people you're talking to, but if anything, it feels like there's more pressure with just one person as opposed to like a small group. And I keep thinking I'm going to end up with someone who really doesn't like the project, just being verbally accosted by someone. Mr. Bunk, you can't spell unprofessional without professional. Well, that's one way of looking at it. That's definitely one way of looking at it. I hope I get a little bit better, just because, I don't know, to start off, there's almost like a little bit of nervousness, but like as you get into the flow of things, it's definitely, it gets easier. It does. And you guys are all lovely anyway. Like I did wax lyrical yesterday about like how great the people were that I've met through doing this project, and you know, for having like 52,000 people on Instagram, not to brag, but yeah, I've never had like, or I very, very rarely have negative interactions with people, which is great, because I know online you can kind of be, you know, get this feeling that everyone's a bit of a shithead, putting it bluntly. But yeah, the people around sort of Warhammer and terrain building and everything have been fantastic, so it's really cool. It's like my little escape, basically. You need a Kool-Aid servitor. I do. So I don't have an idea for a Kool-Aid servitor, but I do have. I had this idea to make like a kind of mini scene within the diorama. So somewhere on the front I was thinking of kind of adding like a load of soot and a kind of scorched looking area, and then having I don't know if you're familiar with that tech priest from the Horus Heresy, the plastic one who's kind of like pointing. He's got this big square hat and he's kind of pointing. And I was thinking of using him kind of scolding a servitor who's stood there with a fire extinguisher. Yeah, I'm basically thinking of having that little scene somewhere on the front here, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Add a bit of visual storytelling. Because I do want to have some fun with this as well, you know. We've discussed before the idea of having, you know, little hidden models around the build, because it's huge, you know. I can definitely hide a few models around it, so I'm thinking of using some Nurglings, and oh, you're going to hear scratching at the door. That's my little dog being let down the garden, trying to get in. Yeah, so basically, Nurglings, we're going to have maybe a Vindicator Assassin somewhere, and I haven't decided what other models, but there's definitely going to be a few others. There's been calls for Necrons, or not Necrons, but Trazyn, and what else has there been calls for? There's been calls for an Alpha Legion Marine as well, so maybe we'll do some of them. Might have to do a vote on the best one and add the best one. And the good news is that since I've been doing this hobby for so long, I've saved up loads of models for this build. So when I mentioned Nurglings, whenever they came out a few years ago, I got all those Plague Marines that you had in the individual box set ones, so it was like a blind box. And most of them came with these sassy little Nurglings, and I managed to get my hands on all of those, so I've got like 6 little sassy Nurglings that I can probably hide in amongst all the cables and maybe on the wall somewhere, and yeah, you'll have to spot them. Maybe I'll do something similar to Warhammer World with their dioramas, where they hide a model, and if you find it, each time you win something. I feel like I could set up something like that. It'd be quite interesting. Because that is another thing, we're going to have to find some way of displaying it for a little bit. Somewhere, somehow, just so you guys can come and see it in person, for those of you who want to do that. that's. I was going to say that's pretty much another one done, but I've managed to get this one a little bit untidy. It's not particularly the end of the world because I can always just come back, like I said. Come back and do another coat, which I probably will do. No, which I definitely will do. But yeah, I don't know if... I think you guys can kind of see that, pardon me. The first 3 painted cables. And an out of focus me. I'm going to try not to think too often about all this stuff I still have left to do. One of the things we have to do relatively soon is, it's been mentioned quite a few times, but having LEDs in the project. So at some stage I'm going to have to drill some holes through through these bits, these channels, and what I'll do is I'll put the little LED lights up through, and I give it, you know, a nice effect. But to top it off, I'm thinking of covering the channels with, I'm trying to think of how to describe them. There's kind of these meshed pieces that you get with the Gang Stronghold set, the Necromunda set. And they're really good because obviously you can kind of, they're semi-opaque. Maybe that's not the right word, but you can kind of see through them. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'll put those LED lights in and then cover it up with the kind of walkways from the Gang Stronghold, and then it should give it an interesting effect because it should obscure the lights slightly. But I do have to do that sort of sooner rather than later because I can't do it after I've glued the panels on, basically. Huzzah! Is that huzzah for the LEDs? I know there is like a fairly large group of people who have been campaigning for LEDs, and I won't lie and say that I haven't been slightly worried about it because I've not worked with LEDs before, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of learning. There's gonna be another learning curve. But the good thing about this day and age is you can look on YouTube and you can find a video of how to do things pretty easily. So yeah, it should be fairly straightforward. Touch wood. How do you guys feel about streaming as a new format for things? Again, it won't be a complete change. You know, we'll still do videos here and there, but I think doing a few more of these might kind of help us in the long run, getting things done. But it's always interesting to get a bit of feedback because I know that. I know that there's going to be some people who just prefer to tune in, kind of watch the 8 to 10 minute video and then wait however long for the next one. But also, there's going to be some people who want to see the progress being made in real time. Hopefully, we can tread the balance. And make it interesting for both parties. Leo, I love my Dark Angels and also the repented ones that Asmodai turned Inner Circle companions. Is that something have you painted any up, Alex? Is that a project as well, or is that just that's my favourite part of the lore kind of thing? Flavour of the month. Darth Brawl, if it get progress on this project, I'm here for more. Awesome. Well, we'll see what we can do, Darth Brawl. We will see what we can do. We've already got 4 cables done. I don't know how long we've been sat here for, but we are making headway. And as long as there's, well, in my mind, as long as there's some visual progress by the end of the stream, I'll be quite happy. And it probably goes without saying, but it won't be mutually exclusive to streaming it. You know, I'll still work on it when the cameras aren't rolling, because it is nice. You know, it's nice occasionally to sort of have a break and just plug in some music, or have a documentary or something on in the background and get stuck in. But in the same vein, it's also nice to hang out with some like-minded people and do some hobbying. Again, making sure that I actually wash the brush instead of just letting the paint dry on it. Trying to be competent. That's what these streams are going to be, it's just me trying to be competent for like three hours, trying to get something done and pretend I'm getting everything right. Definitely getting there though. The bit that I'm looking forward to the most is I have a bunch of, well, some of you might already know this, but like transfers are probably my favourite part of the build at the moment. So I'll probably use smaller ones on this, like maybe some of the warning symbols and stuff. But I'm looking forward to being able to add some more kind of like dotted around, just because I feel like for the longest time I sort of ignored transfers because I didn't know how to use them properly. So I wouldn't use like the microsol and microset, I just used to use a little bit of water and I'd end up fucking them up basically. So now that I've got the method to it and I understand how you use them, I really enjoy using them. So expect to see a few more of them. I was also told that when it comes to transfers you can use white vinegar as well, and that again, I don't know whether this is true, whether it's actually like a main component in microset, I want to say. So it could be a possibility to use that, but I haven't tried it. I'm told it works though. Mr. Squarepeg, have a follow because this looks amazing. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Squarepeg. Well, you're obviously new here, but I've documented a bit of, there's like 2 years worth of videos documenting this project. Yeah, if it's caught your attention and you're interested, feel free to check out the videos that I've done. Some are better than others in quality. But yeah, we are building the Golden Throne from the Warhammer 40,000 universe, or at least my interpretation of it. It's taken 3 years of my life so far, and it's probably going to take the best part of a year now, or maybe a little bit more to get finished. The goal is to have it mostly done by December, but again, we'll see what happens, you know. We'll put the effort in and we'll see whether it pays off. Is the edge highlighted? Big brain. Is the edge highlighted? Well, we did get a fair bit done yesterday, but I don't know if you missed this, but I didn't put up the picture. I didn't put up any pictures because I'm useless. So I will try and do that tomorrow, along with a picture of these cables that are going to get painted this evening. We're going to try and get, I don't know, a little section done at least. You know, because I got nowhere to be. I'll stream for a few hours, see what we can achieve, and go from there, basically. It's good to have you here again, though, Big Brain. Mayor places in Europe. I assume you mean many places in Europe are running out of gold paint. We know who is the rascal watching. This makes it okay. Do you know what? Actually, Alex, is I haven't bought any gold paint for a little while now. I've been pretty good. I did use maybe. We probably used about 15 cans of gold spray for this project, so it's mainly, you know, what I've moved to now is Colourforge ones. I use because they're a really good colour match for what's the Games Workshop gold now? Retributor armour. That's it. Yeah, Gauntlet Gold is a good match for. Well, it's a perfect match for Retributor armour. So I've moved on to that. They were bigger cans as well, the Colourforge ones, but I still managed to burn through like a bunch of them for this project. And I might need another one or two before we're finished, just for some of the wall sections. But you know, one problem at a time. I will tell you what I am a bit of a rascal for is I can't remember what edition it was, but the Cities of Death scenery, because I used a shit ton for the walls basically. So for a few months I was on eBay trying to get all the cheapest ones. I think there was a few people who complained on Instagram saying, "Oh, I see where they're all going now. You know, I know why I can't find any because you're using them all." And yeah, I'm guilty as charged for that. But I won't need to do that again now. I'm convinced that I've got all the pieces I need. So, unless when this is finished I decide to make some ridiculous ruined city project, I think you guys are going to be alright. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. But, yeah, I'll probably move on to something smaller when this is done. It's going to feel like a breath of fresh air painting a singular space marine. It's going to feel amazing. Obviously every stream is not going to be painting cables. What I do want to do is mix it up a little bit. Again, this was something I mentioned in yesterday's stream when we were edge highlighting, is you know, being able to work on different elements of the build is a way that I keep myself interested in it, because you can get burnout pretty easily with bigger projects. So being able to work on different areas of it definitely helps. Probably not some people's preferred method of painting. I know there's people who like to paint their miniatures sort of step by step and get like, let's say, get the Space Marine head done first, get it finished, then paint the pauldrons, then paint the gun. I've never painted like that. When I paint a miniature, it's like I'll just base coat a few areas, then go back, and then sort of like I kind of go from pillar to post with my miniatures. So that's kind of the style we're continuing with this big project, is bouncing around bit to bit, and yeah, kind of as and when I feel, you know, which is a bit of a strange way of working, but it keeps me engaged with the project. So I'm not gonna question my own method too much, because it's got me this far, and we're making quite good progress. So why spoil a good thing? Always love what you do. Never listen to the haters. You are making something even... Ugh. See the stutter there? Even Games Workshop haven't thought of. You are so unique, my friend. Love this, Alex. Well, thank you very much, Alex. Your support has not gone unnoticed. I know you've been with us for a while now, for quite a while. So I really appreciate it. I do. It's nice to have a supportive group, to be fair. You know, it's like I said before, I very rarely have negative interactions, and that's not to say they won't ever happen, but most of the time people are great, and we're all here for the same reason. We're just interested in Warhammer, interested in hobby stuff. It's like your escape, really. So you do your 9 to 5, you do your job. And when you've got some, those of you with families as well, and partners and everything, when you get some time to yourself, you like to invest it in the hobby and just kind of escape from the world for a bit. So, I find that most people who are here for that reason, to kind of escape. Big brain. I block colours and layer on some details on my minis. Yeah, essentially that is what I do, Big Brain, but I kind of, quite sporadic about it. Because I could never really, I don't know what it is, but I like to see my miniatures come together like that. I find it hard to just get one area, finished to a completed standard, and then, do another, do the arm or do the leg. I like to see it, I say come together gradually. It's just the way I work, really, and I just don't think that will ever change. I'm not suggesting as well that it's a rare thing. Lots of people might work like that. Quite a few of us might work in the same way. It's just I noticed that online, on social media, that's the way that some people paint, where they complete one part, complete another part, until eventually the whole model's finished. I just can't imagine doing that. That would drive me nuts. Are there any other big builds that you guys are engaged with at the moment? Any other things that are inspiring you online? I definitely see a lot of projects on Instagram. That's kind of where I get my main inspiration from, really, is some of the stuff people do. Because obviously it's not always, when you're working on something, you don't always publicize it. Some people don't really like sharing what they're working on, but there's some creators on Instagram, and the stuff they come up with is fantastic. They just don't make a song and dance about it like I do. Apache Andy, Eric's Imperator Titan, that's one of my favorites as well. So in terms of like other creators that I really enjoy, Eric's Hobby Workshop is one for me. The Imperator Titan is fantastic. It's fantastic. Some of his, I don't know if you guys seen one of his recent videos. It might not be the most recent one, but one of his videos he talks about the kind of pressure he's had from building this Titan and having this like self-imposed sort of pressure to get it finished. And it was quite nice because I could see in the comments that lots of people were saying, you know, just take your time with it. It doesn't matter. If every video is not about the Titan, it's not a problem. And it was really refreshing, basically, because, you know, through doing this, I know that sometimes you just get burnt out of working on the one project, so you just have to do something else. So it's cool that people do want to see it finished, but you know, when the time is right, and making sure that it's not rushed, or you know, you're not sort of resentful when you're building and engaging with the hobby. So yeah, very cool, very cool creator, and I do watch all of his videos. It's massive as well, that thing. It's like big. It's 6 foot something, 6 or 7 foot. It wouldn't fit in here. Alex, Commander-in-Chief, just came home. She said she wants to talk of her day. Anybody have a spare bolter I could use? Oh dear. Oh dear, Alex. Well, it's good to have someone to talk to about your day, though. It is. You might not be able to talk to your partner about Warhammer, but, you know, it's nice to have someone to talk to. We've got trying to make an Eldercraft world. Fiddly. Yeah, I don't envy you, Andrew, to be fair. Trying to think of the last miniature I built that was really, really fiddly. I know that somewhere in my drawers I have like a few Dark Eldar models, or Drakari, that came with one of the Kill Team box sets that I bought. And I'm looking at them like, I'm never gonna, look how fiddly those models are. I'm never gonna do that. Not with these sausage fingers. So I think they're probably gonna get sold at some point. Yeah, I don't envy you assembling them. Let's see, Big Brain. I'm doing a bachelor degree, doing too much in my spare time to be able to do a big project. That's fair enough, Big Brain. Sometimes it's nicer to just engage in smaller stuff anyway. You know, like, again, I'm at risk of repeating myself, but this project, I do enjoy doing it. You know, I really do enjoy doing it, but it definitely has its moments where I'm thinking, what have I done? Because it's a huge project. I think I just wanted to jump in and make something, and I didn't really think that, oh yeah, I'm going to spend 3 years of my life working on this and trying to get it finished, and, you know, this, that, and the other. So yeah, sometimes it's nicer to have the smaller projects, especially to fit around your day-to-day if you're a busy person. Definitely wouldn't recommend this if you are a very, very busy person. Recently I've had the luxury of having a little bit more time to work on it, but you know, the normal case is I have probably just about as much hobby time as anyone else that works their 9 to 5, you know. And that's also adding in when you have a bad day, you know, like you have a shit day at work, you get back and you're like, I don't want to do any hobby. I don't want to do anything. I just want to play Chivalry 2 and get my ass kicked by everyone who's better than me at it. Apache Andy, definitely okay to take your time. I think he just had a second child too, so we can give him a break. Yes, I think it's 7 feet tall. 7 feet tall. is mad. That is mad. I think the ceiling for this studio space that I have is maybe under 7 foot, I want to say. So that's mind-blowing. Also, yeah, you have to give it to him. Anyone who, you know, manages to get hobby time in, who has, you know, a family and small children, like, credit where credit is due. I don't have any little responsibilities, so I get a bit more hobby time, but I do respect the people that, you know, have lots more commitments to tend to. I enjoy assembling space elves, big brain. Is that your army of choice then? Some Eldar. It's funny to think that it's not too long ago that they got a you know, a new line of miniatures, because I think Eldar Guardians were the same for 30 years? Something like that, which is mind-boggling. Alex, it's been a pleasure with you guys. She's had some cocktails, too much. This could go either way. Looking forward to the throne. But cheers, Alex. If that is your call to leave, thank you for joining us on the stream for a good portion of it, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. It is awesome to see regular faces. Obviously, you're not obliged to be here. But it's cool to sort of have you guys turn up as and when. And I have said before that a lot of this wouldn't be possible without you guys, because just the sort of outpouring of support and you know, my small group of patron supporters and channel members and stuff, it makes it possible. So I do really appreciate when you guys tune in. We're definitely getting there. Definitely getting there. I'm just kind of annoyed though that I came down here with a pint of Diet Coke, and I'm like, where did it go? So I'm weighing up whether I just disappear for 5 minutes and go and get it. It's thirsty work chatting. It's thirsty work streaming. Big Brain, I started right after the massive refresh of the range. Ah, so you got your hands on some tasty new sculpts. They are really nice models. You know, I've said before that I feel like the age that we live in for Warhammer models and what we get is fantastic. You know, this, even though I really enjoy what got me into the hobby in the sort of early 2000s and, well, yeah, early 2000s, I'll be honest. You know, where we are now with the sculpts that we get and the plastic kits, it is kind of like a golden age for this hobby. It's kind of reminded me that I'm pretty sure the Eldar Wave Serpent is still the same kit, though that hasn't had a refresh yet. So Eldar players still using your 30-year-old Wave Serpent. That's that's something. Wonder if it'll get a refresh anytime soon. Because it must look a little bit small now on comparison to the rest of the minis. Water is the only drink I need. That's a smart decision. Mostly it's the only drink I have, but I am partial to Diet Coke. And one of the funny things about that is I can't drink normal Coke anymore. Like Coca-Cola, just the amount of sugar leaves that kind of grit on your teeth. It's ugh. I can't go back to it. I'm a changed man. But I am tempted to go and find that pint of Coke. Of Diet Coke. So maybe bear with me. I'm just gonna have to try and gracefully move. Oh, also, if you haven't noticed, this is going to be a shameless plug here, but so I worked with a chap named Kieran at Spearheadgirl to make some of these shirts, some Imperium Nihilist shirts, and I've left a link in the description if any of you are interested in getting one and showing people your niche interests, your niche hobby interests. Yeah, they're inspired by a lot of the music I listen to, so obviously heavy, very, very heavy. But I think you've done an awesome job on them. So yeah, if you're interested in that, shameless plug, check out the link. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly finish this cable, and then I'm going to look for that. I'm going to look for that drink. Because it's thirsty work. Alright. Oh, wait, got a few more comments here before I disappear. Bonsoir. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Do you know, I panicked then because I can't speak French. I can't speak French. Good evening, hello from France. Just wanted to let you know that I'm following your work from here. Well, KL, if I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining the stream. I kind of bumble my way through each and every one, but we tend to make a bit of progress as well, so it's good. Yeah. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on this journey. Big Brain, I haven't been able to afford minis before I started in September. Yeah, that's one of the downsides, for sure. Golden age of miniatures, yes, fantastic. Price of miniatures, not great. You know, this hobby is very, very expensive. I suppose you get to an extent, I suppose you get your money's worth with the time that you spend assembling the kits and painting them, but they're definitely a little bit too expensive, I think. Alright, I'm going to find this drink very quickly, so you're going to see me bumble off screen, but I will be back and we'll do some more cables. But I'm gonna die of thirst. If I don't get a drink, I'm gonna die of thirst on the stream. So yeah, okay, bear with me. Watch this. Watch how elegant I am. So elegant. There we go. Try not to bring the project with me. I tell you what, it's a good thing I don't need to get out of here in a hurry. Let's just say that. It's not a fire-friendly room. done it. Mission successful. Alright. Let's just amble my way back. Okay, here we go. Okay. Did anyone see him move? I know you all seen the Armageddon trailer. Did anyone see him move? Because he's right there. He must have moved. One of you must have seen something. Okay. Okay, I can already tell. One of you's being cheeky. Let's see, Apache Andy, like a graceful swan dismounting from the desk. Yeah, definitely. The first thing I noticed was my gut slide across, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to do something about that. I'm spending too much time sat down. What else we got? Big Brain. Norwegian mini prices are cheaper than the rest of the world, but I don't have any discounts from MSRP. Yeah, that does suck a little bit. I'm not sure what the prices are like for kind of European countries. I know that Australia gets shafted. They get absolutely shafted when it comes to mini prices. Here there's a few outlets where we can get like up to 20% off. So, I tend to order from places where I can save a little bit of money, basically. I think the last time I ordered something from the Games Workshop website was a book, maybe? It was like a limited edition book. And I can't even remember what book that was now. Right. I don't know how I was looking at the screen. So as I said before, I kind of keep my phone here so I can read your comments, because on here the stream stuff is a bit far away. So yeah, I was looking at the comments on here and I didn't realize I was a minute 36 behind on the video for some reason. So I'm like, why am I not on here? What's this about? Anyway, it's sorted now, so let's get back to painting some more cables. Got six done, or 6 kind of base coated, I'll say. So, it's alright. Guess it could be quicker, but we're shooting the shit as well, so. Alright. Shape cam. I think one of the things I'll avoid doing is hazard stripes on cables. I don't think I'm going to bother with that. Maybe if, I don't know, at a stretch I might do some of the tiny cables, but I hate painting hazard stripes and hazard lines. Like, I can't really get it right, and I don't think this project is a good place to test my hazard stripe painting skills. So we're not going to do that. Let's paint some of these ones. What I do need to do now is come up with a plan of how I'm going to make the facade that sits on the front of the build. Because I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. I know that, like, but basically I attempted something, kind of a little hand-built thing a while back to sit on the front, but I just didn't like the way it looked. So I don't know now whether I'm going to follow the same plan as the gate. So I was lucky enough that 3D designer Frankie built me the massive Titan gate and designed it and everything, and it's amazing. So I don't know whether I'm going to do the same thing with this facade, basically, because I feel like a 3D designed print would look much better. And after putting this much effort in, I want it to look good. I don't want it to look like I've been sat at my desk with macaroni and halves of potatoes painting it. So I might investigate getting a 3D print. But again, like I say, it's another problem for another time, so I will push that nearer the time, once we've got this painted. Big Brain, the best discount I've seen is like £3 converted from local prices. Yeah, so not too amazing. Isn't a big canvas the best place to practice hazard stripes? Probably. The only other method I've seen people do quite successfully is cutting pieces of tape. I think that works better though for flat surfaces, cutting the tape and then airbrushing it. So if I do decide at some point I'm going to put some on, it would be on a flat surface. I don't think I'm even going to bother with the cables. And I don't think there's a good method other than being a good painter, so, well, for the cables at least. And I just feel like I'll stress out too much. Is there any bits that you guys are looking forward to the most? If you've been following this project for a while, is there a bit that you are looking forward to seeing finished? Because I know the Emperor was up there on the list for a while, and he's mainly done, but I do have to go back and again add cables, but also I need to finish all the skulls, I need to finish all the purity seals, candles, there needs to be lots of candles, so he's going to be revisited, but I don't know if there's any elements that you guys are looking forward to seeing finished. Maybe the gate, even though that's our newest addition. Big Brain, why? Oh no, wait, sorry. Apache Andy. Other big builds I enjoy following: Loki's Zorpazorp, massive Middle Earth builds. Yeah, occasionally I tune into I tune into Zorpazorp. I do like the Middle Earth stuff. I've seen pictures come up of his Blackgate that he's worked on. I haven't watched the videos yet, but I do intend to, because that stuff is brilliant. And the way that he manages to get it so close to how it looks on the screen is fantastic. One of the things I don't envy is doing that, because with this I have and kind of be a bit freer with it to a certain extent. But when you're making the Middle Earth builds, like the Minas Tirith, Blackgate, I suppose you're wanting to get it as close to what's seen on screen, and I feel like I just couldn't I couldn't do that. Big Brain, why would a cable need hazard stripes? Well, I don't know the reason, Big Brain, but I know I've seen a fair few Space Marines with hazard cables, so it must do something. It must be somewhat important. But maybe we don't, maybe we don't need them for the Golden Throne. And it's probably not going to get one. But yeah, we'll do some red ones and some green ones, and maybe one or two other colours. But I just want to keep it all. I don't want to say fairly flat, but I just don't want it to be this mass of different coloured cables, because I feel like that will detract from the way the overall project looks. I wouldn't say I'm very good at any of the colour theory stuff. I think I've learnt a bit as I've been sort of going through this hobby journey, if you will. But I do feel like less is more sometimes, because there's also going to be all these different miniatures that are on the diorama itself, and some of them are going to have quite a few different colours. So maybe, you know, we let them do the talking to an extent. Because essentially they're going to be just as important as the scenery itself. You know, the miniatures that are on it are going to tell the rest of the story. So I almost don't want to overshadow them by, you know, adding too much colour. It would be cool to see a Titan near the gate. Well, do you know what, Big Brain? That's something that I have thought about. I would eventually like to do it. It's just the logistics behind how I'm going to do it, because I'm not going to buy a, what is it, like £500 resin 4-year-old Titan. That's not going to happen. Apparently there was rumours of, you know, about it being a plastic kit at some point. Like, God knows whether that's actually going to be a thing. But that would make it a bit more plausible, because it would bring the price down, hopefully. But yeah, essentially it's something I would like to do. I'd like to have two, maybe one for either side of the gate. But again, that's, you know, that's going to be a little way down the road. But the Black Gate is just insane. God knows where he stores it all. I think, judging by what I've seen in his previous videos, Zorp has, you know, quite a big workspace. I think it looks like it's kind of some I'm gonna say like industrial / like garage unit, and it looks like he's got a bit of space to work with. I guess he still has to work out, you know, how the miniatures come apart and fit together and everything, because he does obviously have to store them. But I think he has a little bit more space to work with. And I think, actually, going back to that, I think he did say in one video he had a lockup somewhere where he kept stuff, but I don't know whether I'm just getting my wires crossed. Andrew, looking forward to seeing what the Golden Throne looks like with lots of models on it, and what it does to the character of the piece, or a Titan stomping around. Well, hopefully, Andrew, you're going to see both of those I don't know, soon, I guess. Soon, certainly for the models, maybe not soon for the Titan, but yeah, I think maybe in a few months' time we'll have a better look of how it's coming together. And especially if we keep up with this sort of rate of progress. You know, we do a few more of these, pink cables, hang out. I think you're going to see it come together. Haven't decided yet whether I'm going to paint the miniatures on stream. I feel like when you're painting bigger bits of scenery, it's kind of easier to multitask a little bit. So talk and paint and what have you. I feel like when I paint smaller miniatures, I just I just want pure silence, no music, no nothing, just me doing that Smeagol face from Lord of the Rings, or the Gollum face where he's got his eyes popping out. That's what I'm going to look like when I'm painting the miniatures, getting all the details. I did say that I'm always at risk of yapping too much. I am, especially when I touch on a subject that I really enjoy. I end up yapping and forgetting about what I'm supposed to be doing. But hey, it's fine. It's Friday. I want to do some yapping. I also managed to get my hands on that Custodian box set, so the one for the Horus Heresy that Games Workshop released a few months ago. and I got to mix them into to all the existing ones that I have. So before the new ones were released, I kind of accumulated maybe 80 or 90 custodians. So I've got to kind of mix them together now, because I don't want them to I don't want them to look too different on the diorama. So I'm going to try and like mix them up and make them fit together a bit better. And maybe, because I've got some pieces left over, kit bash the pieces. So yeah, I've still got that all to do. And I did want to get one of the giant Roomba tanks that they have, because they have that what is it? It's like a troop carrier. They have that giant troop carrier, and I was thinking of having that somewhere on the front of the diorama, but again, we'll see. I get lots of ideas quicker than I can execute them. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Yapping isn't a problem. Well, thank you, Big Brain. I'm glad you guys are enjoying my yapping. Likewise, I am enjoying your company. It gives me some company. Sorry, I'm just trying not to overspill the paint. Yeah, it gives me some company, and means I'm not sat here in silence. My online hobby friends. You can be my online hobby friends. Let's see, Apache Andy. Well, I enjoy having a stream on in the background. Currently painting some blood ravens. Now that sounds like a good use of time. I like to think that a few of you out there who are watching are kind of, you got this on in the background and you're working on whatever project you got going. I like the idea of the whole sort of hobby hangout vibe. So it's nice to know that a few of you guys are working on, Blood Ravens, Eldar. Well, not you weren't working on it, were you, Big Brain? But I'm not sure how well that camera picks this up, but as I've said before, I'll try and take a picture and update. Though I owe you 2 pictures now. I owe you for yesterday's stream, because I didn't upload a picture of the edge highlights, which was the one thing I said I was going to do. Grab tanks inside seems like a really bad idea. Probably is, but then surely having 2 Warhound Titans inside is a really bad idea. And he's, the Emperor's supposed to have them, or the throne room is supposed to have them. Like, surely them stomping around, they're going to be denting all the floor panels. Is anything truly a good idea? Right. Yeah, it's definitely nice to feel some change coming on. Because for the most part, it's just been all of the attention has kind of been on the Zone Mortalis tiles. So it's definitely nice. It's definitely a nice feeling to have some paint finally on these cables. Like, it's only the early stages, yeah, but it's a start, It's something that's not going to be put off to another day. Big Brain, I moved to... Oh my god, I'm getting adverts on my own phone. I moved to my parents for the summer today. Well, that's cool, Big Brain. Do you have your hobby stuff there? Like, or, you just enjoy watching hobby content? It's kind of funny because, so a few of you might know I have my little Patreon group, and I organised a giveaway on there earlier this week. I think it was the giveaway came to an end, And the person that actually ended up winning the miniature, the Inquisitor miniature, told me that it was his first Warhammer miniature. So he obviously enjoys the, you know, watching stuff about the hobby and you know, maybe the lore elements of it, but he doesn't have any miniatures. So the miniature that he won is going to be his first, and I think that's pretty cool. I feel like I always just assume that people who are into Warhammer must have the miniatures, but I know that's not always the case, because obviously there's space, you know, there's having the time to do it. So I forget that some people kind of just not like passively engage in the hobby, but you know, they sort of have a different way of enjoying the hobby, I guess. Centurion, looking amazing. Will the throne be portable enough to take to shows? Well, Centurion, it's in 4 pieces. This section that we're working on is the biggest and heaviest section. It can be removed from this room. It's big enough to fit out the double doors, so it can be moved, but it's just the, like, how much it would cost and how much effort it would be to move. So I don't know about shows, but at some stage I would like to have it somewhere that it could be seen. So even if it just ends up being like a one-off, you know, I'm hoping not, but if it has to be that, you know, it kind of has to be that. But I would like as many people as possible to be able to see it firsthand, because, you know, showing you guys on camera and, you know, on Instagram and pictures and whatnot, that's one thing, but I feel like in real life it's much bigger, which, you know, insert your joke there. But yeah, it's definitely like a bigger build in person, so it would be cool for you guys to come and have a look in some capacity. Yeah, but you know, we'll see what the future brings. Obviously I need to get it finished first and you know, painted to a decent standard, and then we can start thinking about you know, display, and also you know, getting some YouTube narrative games on it, which obviously someone else will handle, because I can't play the game. I can't play the game, and I probably could not keep you entertained by spinning an interesting story. So we'll get some professionals for that. Big Brain, I have my paint and my brushes and some minis. I enjoyed the lore for half a decade. God, stutter through all of these. I enjoyed the lore for half a decade before getting the minis. Well, that is, yeah, that's fair enough. It's, yeah, I can understand, because there's such a wealth of lore, how you could just stay engaged with that and not feel the need to get the miniatures for the, you know, for the game. Yeah, because there is just so much. There is so much lore. It's definitely one of my favourite aspects of the hobby, is the lore. You know, when I'm not painting or building, some of my downtime I spend listening to audiobooks. So I did bring up yesterday how at the moment I'm trying to work my way through the Caiaphas Cain books, because I signed up for, I don't know if anyone, I nearly stuck the brush in my Coke. I don't know if you guys signed up for the Black Library app, because when they released that they gave away a few books with it, and one of the books was the Caiaphas Cain anthology. So I listened to that and I thought it was fantastic. Like, it was really good. The narration was fantastic, and like the character himself, Caiaphas, was just great. So I listened to that, I tried a few of the other ones, but they didn't really hook my attention as much as Caiaphas Cain. So I bought 2 of the other books in the series, which I can't remember now because, again, when I'm put on the spot, I struggle to remember, but I will find out now. Choose Your Enemies, that's it. So Choose Your Enemies and The Traitor's Hand, and they are both really good. They're longer stories, because obviously the anthology is built up of smaller, shorter stories, not smaller. But yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Really enjoy it. So I'm going to try and work my way through those, and then I think a regular recommended Hive, the new books by Dan Abnett, so I might try those as well. Can't go wrong with a bit of Dan Abnett. And yeah, it's a fairly recent thing for me, like going through the books. And yeah, it's just a way of sort of engaging with the lore and learning a bit more. Apache Andy. I'm what I guess is called a greybeard. I'm 50 and got into Rogue Trader at school at 15 years old. Minis everywhere. I mean, that's awesome. Being around for the... no offense, obviously. But, like experiencing sort of Rogue Trader and, 2nd edition, 3rd edition. I don't know, I'd say, like, it's a little bit enviable because... I got into Warhammer during 3rd edition. I never played the game or anything. It was just purely the artwork that got me into it. So it must have been cool to kind of experience the beginning of it, like Rogue Trader and everything. So yeah. Slightly envious. Yes, love Caiaphas Cain. Jurgen is brilliant. Jurgen is brilliant, and one of the things that really makes me chuckle is that again, I need to remember who narrates the books, or one of the narrators, because there's a few. But Jurgen is always portrayed with a Bristolian accent or like a Somerset accent in the books, and I'm like, oh man, that's kind of how I sound sometimes. So maybe I just need to grow this beard out and wear a Ushanka hat with a little Aquila on the front, and maybe we'll call it like Jurgen Streams. Coke and paint is a great mix. I've tried paint water before, and yeah, wouldn't recommend it. So I can't imagine what it would taste like in Diet Coke. But I need some fuel to keep me going. But anyway, while we are on the subject of books, if you have read any that you guys recommend, feel free to drop it in the comments, because I'm always looking for new books that I can listen to, new series. I tried another free one that came with the Black Library app, which was one of the Dawn of Fire books, and I don't know if it's just me, but it starts off quite good, and then I'm just kind of struggling to get into it, and I don't know whether that's because of the Cain series being kind of a bit whimsical, I suppose, and a bit more I want to say like kind of funny. It's got that like black humor to it, the kind of dark sense of humor. So I don't know whether it's just because it's a different change of pace and whether it gets better, but I haven't followed through and finished it yet. My favourites: Double Eagle and Titanicus. Okay, well, I don't think I've heard of any of those, but I will certainly save that. A screenshot. Because I've already worked my way through one of the new books, and I'm doing well on The Traitor's Hand, so I'm probably going to need something relatively soon. I've seen a few people mention that the Gaunt's series is quite good, like Gaunt's Ghosts, so I don't know whether that's one that I need to investigate. Pardon me. Oh, see, I missed that, Apache Andy. Both Abner, of course. Well, that's going to be a definite then, I think. Those two and Hive. I'm trying hard not to scrutinize this too much, because looking from the bottom up, I'm like, oh, I've missed a fair bit. So I'm trying not to scrutinize it, but they are definitely going to need another coat. Apache Andy, oh definitely, all of the Gaunt stuff too, very good. Big arcing storyline and some dark humor too. See, that's what I was kind of hoping for. So I know it might not be exactly the same as the Kane stuff, but I do like that kind of dark humor to it. And it also makes me think of, it was one of the early kits I got when I was a kid, getting into Warhammer. I got the Last Chance. I say that, it's not even Gaunt's Ghost. I did get Gaunt's Ghost, the metal Gaunt's Ghost. But, yeah, see, I'm getting my wires crossed. I also got Last Chances, but, yeah. So it'd be nice to see the story, anyway. So I got both. Yes, Last Chances are not Gaunt's Ghost. But, yeah, it'd be nice to see the story behind it. Andrew, Draco by Ian Watson is amazing. The Inquisitor in it goes into the throne room and has a chat with the Emperor. Okay, well that's some pretty groundbreaking lore stuff right there. Draco. I feel like that rings a bell. I don't know whether that's just because of the Black Templar model from way back when, with the same name, I think. But I will, I'll make a note of that as well. Screenshot. Big Brain, I have never seen a metal mini. Well, you haven't really missed anything, because when it came to painting, well, not so much painting, I guess, but assembling metal minis without pinning them. If you were one of the people who didn't want to go through the rigmarole of pinning them, they were a bastard, basically, because arms would come off, you know, bits that you hadn't glued properly just pop straight off. They're good for a bit of nostalgia, but that's about it. It's also funny to think that since I was in the hobby when they were still making metal miniatures, I remember the move to plastic, the gradual move to plastic, and like, you know, they had the fine cast thing in between. I remember at the time really not liking the idea of everything going to plastic, because one thing metal did give you is it felt like you kind of owned something, because it was this weighty miniature in your hand. And I don't know why, but I kind of didn't like the idea of miniatures going to plastic. But now, obviously, however long down the line, it's much better with plastic miniatures. They're better than resin miniatures. You know, you can just do so much with them. The kit bash potential. So I don't really know why I resisted it, to be fair. But long story short, you haven't really missed anything with metal miniatures. Apache Andy, no metal miniatures? About half of my collection is metal. The old dreadnoughts are immense. They are immense, and if you drop one on your foot, you know about it. You will not forget anytime soon if you drop a metal dreadnought on your foot. Straight to A&E. You could fill up a sock with a couple of metal dreadnoughts and you could really do some damage. I'm not condoning that. Well, I have metal in some of my Tau minis. Yeah, I forget that. They had, because the Tau range is, what, early noughties, I think? Yeah, it's got to be early noughties. And yeah, they had metal miniatures once upon a time. They did. They had those they had like the half metal battle suits as well. You had those plastic ones and you could get the rail guns and stuff that stuck on it that were metal. And that's just asking for a disaster, isn't it, really? Metal and plastic combined. Not a good idea. Yes, it was a horrible change. No one seemed to like it. Is that... Are we going back to the Finecast? Because I know the change to Finecast was awful. Like, Finecast must have lasted about 2 years or less, because I'm pretty sure they got so many complaints about, you know, they didn't last. They melted. I remember that was a thing. I used to go into this shop and they would keep some of the Finecast models in the window, and they had to stop doing it because when the sun came out or it was too warm, it would melt and warp. I think I've noticed how through the stream the cable painting has gradually slowed down, but the yapping has gradually increased. But it doesn't really matter as long as some progress is being made. That is why I'm doing these streams, to force myself to make faster progress. Not at the expense of quality, though. Obviously I'm still going to try and get it to look as good as it possibly can, or as good as I can make it. Big brain, I have magnets, not metal minis. Metal to plastic. I don't know, Andy. Was it? Like, as I said, I did resist it for a while. But in the long run, I think plastic is better. You know, I do miss the weight, like feeling like you own something. But in terms of working with the miniatures and stuff, it's much better using plastic. Again, just completely my opinion. And if you prefer metal miniatures, there's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, some of the made-to-order stuff that Games Workshop does and brings back to the shop front every so often, like the Vostroyans, I think they were available for a limited time a few weeks ago, they all come back in metal. So they clearly still have the capability to produce metal miniatures, but yeah, they just don't use it for any of the new stuff. Imagine metal Primaris Marines, that would be something. An absolute faff to build. Alright. I did talk about yesterday as well how it's it's kind of nice when you are happy with your own work, because sometimes you can be working on whatever it is you're working on, and you spend a few hours on it, and by the time you finish you are not happy with what you've done. So I'm kind of lucky that recently the progress I've been making on this I've been pretty happy with. That's not to say there hasn't been times where, you know, I spent a few hours on the project and I've shut up shop for the evening and just not been happy, and then I spend the rest of the evening thinking about how I can improve and what else I should do. So yeah, it's been kind of forgiving recently. Apache Andy, oh for sure we're in a better place now with the amazing detail on the current plastics, but I remember people saying how it wouldn't last and they'd soon go back to metal. How wrong they were. Yeah, do you know what? I think I remember that as well. I think I remember people talking about how eventually they would go back to metal, but yeah, I mean, it never happened. I think you get more detail out of the plastics, don't you? So from a business standpoint, it's the smarter thing to do. I mean, my only little gripe, and it is a little gripe, is that some miniature kits that we get have significantly less options than others, and I'd kind of like to know what the deal is with that. Is why is it that some miniatures get quite a lot of extra options and, you know, weapons and stuff, but others get virtually nothing? One kit, for example, that I do own with very little in terms of customization options is Necromunda. You know, there was a box set released for Necromunda, which was is it called the Hangers On, maybe? And you've got like the Rogue Doc and you've got the Ammo Jack guy. And basically they're really cool miniatures, like really stunning miniatures, but there is nothing in terms of customization. I think the Rogue Doc might have one extra head that you can use, but why is it that that's the case? But then you can also have, like, okay, let's bring up the poster boys, Space Marines, and they get loads. You know, they get loads. I just find it a little bit strange. But again, not a huge gripe. It's just one of those things. Big brain. I think mass producing metal minis on scale is really expensive. There must be that. There must be that to consider for sure. I'm just really glad that we didn't go down the route of keeping Finecast as a thing, and I know that, you know, we still get some resin models, especially again for Necromunda, like character models and stuff like that. But I'm glad that for the most part it's plastics now. Just much easier to work with. That's not to say that I don't have a huge amount of resin figures. There's quite a few little ones that I have, and I know that if I ever get around to doing them, I'm going to have to fill in all the gaps, and I'm going to have to sand it off, and I'm going to have to wear a mask so I don't inhale any of the resin. I know you should kind of do that with plastic, technically, but I don't. It's probably quite bad, but yeah, resin stuff is not great for inhaling. There was a time I used to worry about all the detail that I was putting on my first diorama of the Emperor. And looking back now, that was a walk in the park compared to this. An absolute walk in the park. And that project still took me quite a while. I've still got some videos up about it on my channel when I first kind of took the plunge and started making YouTube stuff. Yeah, this has probably taken 50 times, I want to say 50 times the amount of effort. And we're not even done yet. Big brain. How bad can it? How bad can it be to breathe? It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Where's the original diorama? The original diorama I have inside my house somewhere. I don't keep it in a room that I'm always looking at it, because I feel like, you know, that could be dangerous the more I look at it. I'd be like, I'd want to change something, or I'd want to paint something else to add to it, so I keep it in a room that I don't go in that often, basically. You know, that's not to say that I'm not happy with it. Like, I'm happy with it, but there's always that potential for me to be like, oh yeah, I'll add one more character, or I will add one more purity seal. So, yeah, out of sight, out of mind for that one. Although, if you guys are interested enough, maybe at some point I can put it in the background or show you on stream. Like, I'm happy to show it off on stream. Because I do have to credit that diorama with, you know, where we are now. Is before I started working on that build, I was just, you know, I'd become reinvested in the hobby, and I was buying lots of miniatures and stuff, and I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I came up with this idea of, you know, working on a piece inspired by John Blanche's art, and I'd never done any dioramas before, so that was, you know, that was the first. And then as soon as I'd finished that one, I kind of knew that I didn't want to just paint Space Marines again. I wanted to work on something a bit bigger. And in my mind, it was just something a little bit bigger. It wasn't, oh yeah, it's going to take up a whole room and you're going to work on it for 3 years. But, you know, but it happened. And we're here now. Now, I don't know whether I should worry about that, though. Like, looking back and going, once I was done with it, I didn't want to just paint Marines. So should I be worried that once this is done, I'm not going to want to paint a Marine? I'm going to want to build something big again. Oh, gee. We'll find out. I definitely like to continue building scenery, though. There's definitely something about making terrain and scenery that appeals to me quite a lot. Maybe more so than the actual miniature painting and building when it comes to the individual figures, so yeah. Maybe we'll build something else. How does one procure this thing called green stuff? Well, I don't know if how difficult it is to get hold of it now, because a couple of months ago there was that big hoo-ha, wasn't there, where the company that makes green stuff doesn't make green stuff anymore, and no one else is going to make green stuff, so I guess it's out of production now. The first thing I done was I bought about 5 rolls of it, and I think that'll do me for a while, or hopefully until someone else makes something similar. You can still find it. If you want some, you can still get it off Amazon. There is a few places you can get it. But aside from that, I'm not really sure. And I'm not sure how quick you have to be now to make sure you get some. The only reason I bought a bunch of it is because I kind of panicked. I don't know what that says about me, panic buying green stuff, but yeah, so I have what I need for the time being. I was also told that it has a bit of a shelf life as well, and you can prolong it by keeping it in the fridge, which was something that I didn't know. I am aware that if you get the seams that are stuck together, obviously the yellow and the blue strip, in the middle it kind of cures together, so you're left with that horrible little bit that you've got to kind of cut out. But yeah, apparently it also kind of degrades or gets harder over time, so keeping it in the fridge is a good way of making it last a little bit longer. So I'm not sure we're going to get as much as I'd intended to get finished done, but we made a start on it. And maybe it's going to come down to little and often, you know? Big brain, I have a fridge in my apartment. That's good. Don't fill it up with green stuff though. Make sure you leave some space for food. Also, green stuff tends to be expensive, so don't spend all your money on green stuff. You'll probably see it on this channel in the future when I make some of the cables for the top of the build. I think we'll probably use a combination of green stuff and maybe some other like plastic tubes that I've accumulated. Pardon me. I've also started putting wire in my green stuff rolls now, so you can adjust it. You can kind of bend it a lot easier, because beforehand I was just rolling the green stuff tubes and then I'd stick them down, and when you don't put a piece of wire in it, it makes them much harder to move and kind of manipulate to however you want. So yeah, like all the stuff I roll now has a wire stuck in the middle of it. Again, another little hobby tip that I picked up. Something I didn't know when I started out, but I know now. Big brain, I don't drink alcohol, so it will probably be fine. It probably will. Right. Let's pick out a few more of these. I'm not even sure how long we've been going for now. How long have we been streaming for? Let's have a look. We've been streaming for nearly 2 hours. It's not bad. I like to say this is what 2 hours worth of solid cable painting gets you, but it's not, because a lot of it's been me talking. Maybe I have to time myself. If I end up doing a little bit of work tomorrow, I'll time myself not talking and see how many cables I get done. J Murdoch 007? Am I missing something? Big Brain, alcohol in Norway is expensive and students usually drink a lot. That happens a lot here as well. I mean, I don't think it's probably not as expensive here as Norway, but students where I'm based definitely drink a lot. Sometimes you hear them shouting in the middle of the night as they're going home to their accommodation. Just a salute or hello. Well, hello, Jad Murdoch. Welcome to the stream. We've been going for a little while, just trying to work on getting some cables done. Shows you how much time I actually spend streaming when I don't know what these things mean. But yeah, welcome to the stream if you're just joining us. We're just trying to make some visible progress on the build, basically. Yeah, and kind of show you guys a little peek behind the curtain. Can't say it's always that entertaining, but we're getting stuff done, which is the most important thing. Captain Foley, hi, hope you're good. I am good, thank you, Captain Foley. How are you doing? Welcome to another stream. We've gone for something a little bit different today. Instead of edge highlighting, I promised I would work on the cables, so we're going to work on some of the cables. We got a few done. In all likelihood, they're probably going to need another coat because I'm kind of just powering through them. So I'm probably going to have to come back and give them another coat, but it's more about seeing the progress that's being made and, you know, making a start on these since they've been untouched for over a year. And much like yesterday, we're being selective with our painting because I'm not going to paint every cable black. We're going to have a mixture of colours. We're going to have some green, some red, maybe the odd yellow cable. But we are starting off by picking out all the black ones. Big Brain, chatting with a fellow human is somewhat enjoyable. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Big Brain. I am enjoying having you guys around for company. Gives me some people to hang out with as I paint. Because most of the time I'm painting on my own. I'm either listening to something on YouTube or listening to music. So it's kind of nice to talk about the hobby, really. And usually I have quite a lot to say about the hobby. Hobby gossip. Yesterday's hobby gossip was the Space Marine with 6 fingers? I think obviously the consensus was that it was a mistake since there was no other indication of AI. But hey, that was some spicy gossip. I'm hoping that in a month's time we can all take a look at this and see how much has actually been done and kind of compare looking back at some of the older footage. Because you know, it's also nice to kind of speed it up a little bit. I think sometimes I definitely have a tendency to rest on my laurels a little bit. I really should just kind of get on with it. Get a bit of analysis paralysis. you could say. Like not knowing where to start and what to start on instead of just doing it. So this is a fantastic way of just doing it. Real humans sometimes have 6 fingers. Sometimes they do have 6 fingers. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Sometimes they do have 6 fingers. Does it mean they were created by AI? No. I think it's such a big thing for a lot of people because you don't really want to see AI in the hobby. Like, you don't want to see AI artwork and you don't want to see AI design miniatures. You know, the human element and the human design is what makes it what it is. And there is certainly enough people losing their jobs to AI at the moment, so let's not go down that route. Okay. Apache Andy, have you ever thought of having any hobby buddies over to help paint, or would you not trust them with this golden monster? I don't really know, Andy. So basically, I did. A friend of mine, Dan, helped me for a little bit with the project. But when it comes to painting, I think in my head I kind of have this idea that, you know, if I paint most of it, it's going to have that cohesion to it. And I think the only thing that puts me off significantly is the different art styles that people have and the different painting styles. And it's nothing against how anyone else paints or anything like that, because I know for a fact that I am not an amazing painter. I'm not the world's best painter. But I feel like if I do the majority of it, even though it might take some time, it's going to have that kind of style cohesion. So that would be my honest opinion to that, basically. Yeah, you know, that's kind of it in a nutshell, really. Yeah, yeah. Not really sure what I can add to that, but that's mainly how I feel about it. Ooh. Big Brain, I don't have a job to lose to AI. Well, that's good. That's good. You don't have to worry about it. It's a weird one for me because my background is kind of an artistic one, I guess. I studied drawing and applied arts in university, got a bachelor's in it, and I always thought that would be something that I would go somewhere with or try and get somewhere with, and I kind of lost interest in it. So now it's weird to see that a lot of creative stuff has, you know, unfortunately shifted over to AI, and I don't know whether that makes me feel like I've made the right decision in a way. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a bit of a weird time right now with all the AI stuff. But it's good if you don't have a job that is at risk, basically. Alright, what do we think? Get a few more of these cables done? It's 11 o'clock here. Doesn't mean I have to be up for anything in the morning, but I think there's a finite amount of cables you can do. But thank you to all of you who have joined me this evening. As I said, it's always nice to have some people to hang around with and just talk Warhammer stuff. I do, well, what I've started doing now is I put up the notifications beforehand for when I'm streaming a few hours in advance, so hopefully YouTube will notify you guys as to who is, hopefully YouTube will notify you guys that I'm, you know, gonna stream later that day. Because yeah, it's nice to hang out. We'll probably do another one on Sunday or Monday or something next week, I reckon. I'll give myself a Saturday evening off, I think. We've had 2 streams in a row. The first couple back. So I think we'll have a night off. But you'll definitely be seeing more of them. Patchy Andy, you'll be seeing cables in your sleep. I probably will be. Again, kind of going back to, I think it's one of the reasons that I bounce around on this project quite a lot is because I just have the tendency to get a little bit burnt out with certain areas because again it is such a big task. So having that freedom to kind of go, okay, today we're going to edge highlight. Tomorrow we're going to do cables, the next day after that we're going to do some work on the Emperor or some other part. Like it's quite nice to be able to do that. I know in any sort of employment sort of position, that would be hated. People would absolutely hate that because it'd be like, oh, can you just get one thing done first, please? And it seems like I'm a little bit incapable of doing that. You have a generous government. Well, that's good, Big Brain. A generous government. A government that gives back to the people is always good. Got to be a bit strategic now about which other cables I'm going to pick out. Because I want to leave enough space in between them so I can do some green ones and some red ones. So, I don't know, maybe we'll try a few of the ones in the middle. I know you can't see it from there either, but there is, you know, when I was building this section, I added a load of little control panels with green screens and stuff. So what I do have to figure out is when I put the arches on the front, or the facade, is which pieces it's going to end up covering, because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to pick out any of the screens that I don't have to. But obviously the ones that are going to show, I would like to have some detail on them. I just don't want to spend hours doing ones that are not going to be seen. See my concentration face again. Big Brain, I don't need a job along studying and can still afford hobbies like Warhammer and Magic. Well, that's definitely a bonus, Big Brain. You know, being able to get, you know, some subsidies from your government to be able to study is good. I feel like it's kind of important as well, if you're studying, to kind of have that freedom as well. because you can put your energy into studying, have a little bit of time to hobby and chill out, and I just feel like it's got to be beneficial to your course or whatever you're studying, just because you can give it more of your attention. You're not doing like a 12-hour shift somewhere and then coming home and then studying. Also, I feel like Warhammer is a very good downtime hobby. You know, you can kind of just chill out and do it at your own pace. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream for the most part. I know there's kind of bits where I just descend into this silence, where I'm focusing on not getting black paint on every cable, but it's always cool to have you guys here. I just keep finding that I want to stick my paintbrush right in my Coke. I do. It's like a habit now. Yeah, not big brain. That's a good point. Not 12-hour shifts. Yeah, not 12-hour shifts, but hey, not in the UK. They're not. Is that the shift, Andy? Big brain. Norway is just better. Well, Norway is one of the places that I would like to go to. To be fair, big brain. I've got like a little list of countries that I want to go and see. So yeah, eventually I'd like to go to Norway. Oh, alright. Well, I think I have had my fill of cables, if I'm honest. I think we've made a bit of progress. And it's a start, really. The main thing I keep going back to is that, like making a start on it is the main thing, because from here I can just, go for it, basically. And it gives me confidence that when we're done, this is going to look pretty good, I feel like. Yeah. Apache Andy. Yes, I do know some guys who do 14-hour shifts. Not nice, but a job is a job. Yeah, I mean, 14-hour shifts is killer. It is absolutely killer. I can't imagine. Like, I'm very lucky that the job that I do is quite like physically demanding, but I'm not working for huge long shifts. Basically, it's quite forgiving. Big brain. I miss the far north during winter, seeing the northern lights every night. Yeah, well, going back to visiting Norway, that's definitely one of the reasons I would like to go, is see the northern lights. I've not seen the northern lights before, so I want to be able to tick that off the list. Good progress, plus I've highlighted a tank and 3 marines. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Andy. It sounds like you've made some decent progress as well. So, yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this evening. I'll set up some more streams in the near future. Obviously, I know that you guys can't, you're not expected to make it to them all. But if you do fancy joining me again, I think I'm going to probably do one on Sunday evening for a little bit. And then we'll just play it by ear throughout the week. But yeah, thank you for joining me for this stream. And I'll see you guys soon. Alright. Take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. Now I've got to try and elegantly turn this off.